other hand, haven't done shit, so sorry about that. It was colder than a witch's titty the winter that I moved to Syracuse, New York with my best friend to take residence in a quaint, small, one-family house in one of those sort of cul-de-sac neighborhoods that have names like Blueberry Lane. I know, you live there, I see it, I can tell by your sweater. So, and things were going great for the few first days we were there until I woke up one morning and headed to the basement and saw that there was 6 inches of standing water and human feces floating as far as the eye could see. I hope you're enjoying your dinner. So, you know, I did what any good non-homeowner would do, and I called Roto-Rooter and took the day off work and settled into my living room to binge watch Gossip Girl, eat old Mexican food, and hang out with my cat while I waited for said rooter to arrive. So a couple hours go by, doorbell rings, I get up. I had pants on, so that was an accomplishment for that day. So Jesse does stuff for the community, but I put on pants for a stranger. And there he was, Clay, whose real name was Clayberry. I would come to learn later, so do with that what you will. So Clay heads on in and he tips his hat to me, and he asked me, ma'am, what's the problem? And I explained to Clay what the problem is in the most delicate terms that I can muster. And we head to the basement, because, you know, I'm a good white liberal, I have a lot of guilt, so I'm not gonna let a man go down and wade through my shit without me standing safely on the stairs to watch him and ask him meaningless questions about his life. So, you know, Clay's checking out the scene, and I start, you know, sort of asking him what I think are safe questions, because, you know, I don't really want to get to know him, I just don't want to seem like a dick. And he's like, you know, so Clay, how did you become a Roto-Rooter? Is that like a thing you aspired to as a child, or did this come later? And Clay does exactly what I don't want Clay to do, which is actually tell me the answer to my question. And he turns to me, he says, well, ma'am, when I was about 18, I was just about to get out of my small town and head into the military. He literally said it just like this, out of my small backwoods town and into the military to travel the world and become a better man. But I went out partying that night and I made a mistake, and 9 months later, I manned up and owned my responsibilities. That's a baby for those of you that don't understand how those are born. And now Clay has to work this shitty Roto-Rooter job because he doesn't have a high school education and he couldn't go into the military, and he's got this woman and baby to support. So Clay's not having a great day so far. So I switch topics, because, you know, I'm determined for Clay and I to have a positive exchange while he wades through the shit in my toilet. And so I say, okay, well, so like, what's it like being a Roto-Rooter? I bet you meet a lot of interesting people. And Clay says, oh, well, ma'am, in this economy, you know, I'm just grateful to have a job. And I said, oh, okay, so like, what's your coolest story? So some highlights from Clay's experience in 6 months as a Roto-Rooter is one time a family called him to help with some pipes. He gets there, and what had been happening is that the matriarch of the family had been defecating in her own pants for 48 hours. No one could figure out how to make her stop, so they called Roto-Rooter. Wrong kind of plumbing, but Clay stayed to help. Another time, Clay was helping someone unclog their second-story toilet, and a drunken man in nothing but a wife beater, what my brother calls the Donald Duck, you know, pants, no pants, just only shirt, headed into the bathroom and just began urinating into the toilet, into the top of the toilet, as Clay was unclogging the toilet. So, anyway, by this time I just couldn't take it anymore. And I said, you know what, Clay? I'm gonna do what every Italian family does, and I'm gonna end this conversation now and go upstairs and try and feed you so that you won't talk anymore about your feelings. And so I went upstairs and I headed into the kitchen to make the grilled cheese. And at that moment I realized two things. One, we had no sourdough bread, which means this was gonna be a subpar grilled cheese. Two, shouldn't have had the Mexican food for breakfast. But yeah, this is about to happen. So I start to like evaluate my possibilities, and I got a little bit of time. So, you know, I start to think about, well, I could go to the neighbor I can't do that because we've lived there 2 days. Not gonna knock on someone's door at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and ask if I can use their facilities. I could go to the nearest, quick stop or whatever, but I don't have a car. I'm a hipster. We don't own cars. Their bikes are 90% of our self-esteem. And the other 10% is PBR. And I can't go outside because there's 6 inches of snow outside. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. So after evaluating my options, I do the only thing that a person in my position can do. I disrobe, I assume the position, I squat down, and I shit in the cat litter box. Do this. Well, the reason I have to do this is because what had been happening is that every time we were flushing a toilet in one of the second or first floor bathrooms, it was coming up out of the toilet in the basement. That's where all of the feces were coming from. Why would someone put a toilet in an unfinished basement? I have no idea. I assume there was sort of a Pulp Fiction scenario going on with the previous owners. So my only choices were to shit in the toilet, which Clay would inevitably find when he came up to check the toilets, or to just flush it and have it just erupt in his face as he was working in the basement, which, is unacceptable. Who am I, the 1%? What would Obama say? Or Bruce Springsteen? I don't think so. And the reason, so I did it, and Clay came upstairs just moments later, checked everything, ate a sandwich, and went on his way, never the wiser. And the reason that I love this story is because, it's not for the shock value. I mean, look at me. I clearly am not going to shit in a cat litter box. I love this story because, first of all, many, many months later, I would go on a date, and the toilet wouldn't flush, and I would immediately know to just put the shit in the cat litter box, because then he'll never know what just happened. And the second reason I love this story is because our whole lives, women were taught that the essence of femininity is about graciousness and self-sacrifice and making sure that other people are never uncomfortable because you're the one who's supposed to be uncomfortable. And so that day, I chose to do the most unladylike thing I could think of, to be the lady of the house. Or as my mother would say when I later told this story, well, Lee, never let him see you shit. Thank you.